The following segment sponsored by Master Services and Empire Ford. Welcome back to ETSU Player of the Week, and this week we're talking with wide receiver for the Buccaneers. It is Xavier Gaillardetz. How you doing, Xavier?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Let's talk about the season so far. You had a great game against Jacksonville State. Talk to me about your game. What are some of the strengths of your game as a wide receiver?
Definitely think one of my strengths is yards after catch. I used to play running back, so for me, I always pride myself on when I get the ball, what can I do with it? Right. You know, a lot of receivers kind of catch it and fall. I like to think big, think touchdowns, think yard after catch, breaking tackles. So that's something I work hard on. And then, just whenever the ball comes my way, make a play. As a receiver, you only get so many chances, and you don't want to have all these targets and no catches. So really catching the ball, and then what can I do with it?
Do you like that? You take some of that running back mentality when you make that catch? Does that kick in for you right away?
For sure. I definitely think I'm a receiver that runs the ball hard, kind of like a running back. So, yeah, I think
you like those yards after catch.
I do for sure.
All right. Let's talk about your journey, the path that brought you to ETSU. It's kind of a long way north of here. You came here to ETSU.
Right. So I was born and raised in Canada, and then school system's a little different in Canada. So I actually graduated high school in Canada. Then I reclassed as a junior in the United States. And then for my senior year, transferred to McCallie in Chattanooga. And that's where I got recruited by Coach Corliss at Furman originally. And then whenever he came over here to ETSU, he recruited me here. So I kind of followed him. And then I somehow ended up at ETSU.
Talk about being at ETSU. Let's talk about what you're majoring in. What are some of your future plans?
I'm a sports management major, kind of like Chris. I kind of want to play as long as I can and then stick around and be around the sport. I think that'll be something big for me. I don't know if it'll be as a coach. I don't know if it'll be as, whatever it may be, but I think being around the sport is what makes me happy, so I want to pursue that.
You're talking about, your mentality when you catch the ball and you're running routes. How is your route running? Do you feel like that's a good, strong part of your game?
Definitely think route running is something you can always improve. I think it's something I do a good job at, as a redshirt freshman. I'm still young, and I think Coach Dickey is doing a great job of teaching us and giving us, good tips to improve on that. It's something you can always improve at, no matter who you talk to. They'll always say that route running it's what makes you a good or a bad receiver, and it's something you always strive to improve on. I think I do a decent job, but it's always something I can improve.
And what goes through your mind? I ask this of players sometimes. When the ball's snapped, what's the first thought you have when you snap off the ball?
First of all, you got to know your assignment. That's that's pre-snap, knowing your assignment, and then once it goes, you just got to be confident. If you know what you do, then you can play fast, and then you can play physical at the top of the route, and then you got to be smart. Coaches always talk about playing, smart, fast, and physical. So if you know your job and you're confident in what you're doing, then you can do these things.
Let's look down the road just a little bit. You got a big season, you got a long season ahead of you. We're just now getting into the season. Talk to me about some of the goals you've set for yourself and some of the goals you've set for you and your teammates.
I think as a freshman, I have this goal of being freshman All-American. I think that's something that all freshmen should try to reach, and I think that's something I can do. Hopefully Tyler gets well soon, and I can, keep working on that chemistry with him.
Right.
And then, on top of that, just trying to be the best player I can be, and just trying to help the team,
All right. Yeah. Xavier, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. That's Xavier Gaillardetz, this week's ETSU Player of the Week. The preceding segment sponsored by Master Services and Empire Ford.